Hello and welcome back to Seaside Garage. I introduced this car in the previous video. There will be a link up there. And this video will only be about trying to start the car up. I still haven't decided whether I'm actually going to save this. I need to take a better look at it on the lift. And also I have a lot of other projects in queue and more coming. So what's really important for me is to start it up so that I can move it into my storage facility. I need the cars to be able to run and drive under their own power to do that. Let's see if that's possible with this one. I really hope, because I have one more car coming tomorrow, one next week, and one the week after. But now let's try to put a battery in and see if it cranks. I'm just gonna go ahead and try. I'm not gonna take the spark plugs out and all that, because when we pushed the car in, I noticed that it was in gear at one point and the engine actually moved slightly, so I don't think it's stuck. So we're just gonna try. As mentioned in the previous video, the oil looks to be okay. Of course it would be nice to change it, but it's just not really possible with the car this height without the hydraulic system working and outside. So and it looks okay. So also this is a 16-valve engine. It got a cam belt. It is actually a big risk to start it up, but it will be like that. I know the risk and I'm willing to take it. There's no coolant in the system at all. It seems to be completely empty. Of course I will have to fill some in, at least some tap water, just to cool it down if it starts. But to start it up for a couple of seconds, it doesn't really matter. Then the fuel line is taken off for some reason. And it seems to be too short to be attached again. So I'll have to make... I would need to change the entire line because it's crisp. But for now, I'll just have to make some kind of temporary fix on that. The battery is on. Let's try to crank it. Keep an eye out on the fuel line if fuel comes out of that. I don't expect it to, because there must be a reason why it's taken off. So I am inside the car now. Ignition. Oh, we got lights and all that on. That looks to be all right. The car is in neutral. Let's try to spin it. Oh yeah, it is spinning. No fuel came out of that. For some reason the fan is going. So maybe it's shorted out or something like that, because it's not supposed to run with the engine cold. Maybe this is the reason for that. Yeah, it sounds like it. Someone has jumped it so it's running all the time. We could be looking at an engine with an overheat problem. But right now I'm going to try to jump the fuel relay. I think it's this one. It's the same as the previous BX that I have had on the channel. So I'm actually gonna remove that fan because that's annoying to listen to. Like that. And then let's try to jump that fuel pump. I believe I can hear something. Let's just try to add some fuel. It's very rusty back here. So let's go ahead and give it another try. I do get a fuel smell back there, so I think we might have a leak actually. I think I see the problem. Could this maybe be the problem? Okay, so I got the car back on the jack and jack stands, and the issue is actually rather easy to find. It's not so easy to fix though, because I can film this, but I can barely even reach the lines, let alone do anything about it. So this is a problem, not a huge one, because I would just have to drop the tank to fix it right. Not a big deal on the lift, but out here, it's not a good thing. But take a look at the floor. It's actually body color. That's not normal in my country, but remember, it is a Swedish car. Looking forward to seeing how rusty this car actually is. While poking around, a lot of the car actually fell down. And maybe you can see this gigantic hole in the rocker. That is not at all a big surprise to see. But actually up there somewhere is healthy metal, so that's a good thing. But I think this car is really rough, to be honest. So it is the next day. What I have done right now is I found the fuel line coming from the fuel pump and through the, I think it's the pressure stabilizer. Then I cut the line right there and put a repair piece that goes to the rest of the system. This is just to start it up, remember? I'm not gonna drive it around like this. So the old fuel line was not long enough. So now I made this connection and it seems to be okay tight now. You might see the liquid right here. I had a leak to begin with, but it seems to be tight now. Let's try to pressurize it. Okay, so I just could not seem to get it to be tight with that connection, but it's not necessary. It's not necessary to put a fuel filter here, but it seems to be a tighter fit to the hose, so it's just another botch. Let's see if it works. Seems to be tied up here at least. Next up, I'm going to check for spark, because it did not start. So we are looking for flashes inside of this for spark. Okay. So I did not see any spark in there. I'm just gonna redo that test, because if the ground part of this is not working, this will not work either. So if I ground out this one and test again and get spark, then the issue is in that one, I think. Oh yeah. That means that the grounding inside of this is not working. Or the wire itself, of course, is also a possibility. But I'm just going to try to take off that cap. It's getting a bit too dark to actually see anything. Just a second. My new sponsor to the rescue. These skill tools are really proving useful. And what I really like about them so far is the fact that this battery is the same battery for all the tools. So if you choose the do-it-yourself series, it's this battery, and if you choose the professional series, it's the same battery. Really clever, in my opinion. So what I was thinking is that if this terminal down here is stuck, oh yeah, it is stuck, and not grounding out inside of here, the spark won't jump and my tester won't blink. So even though there is a spark, it's just not showing up because it's not arriving. And I'd say that is really a possible thing, because this is stuck. I just want that piece of carbon down there to spring in and out with no effort. Now I need to clean up that oil, because that will just short it out. That can wait. I think it's good enough to test at least. It will most likely fire up if there's spark now. Now we don't have any sparks again. I wonder if the issue is actually the cable itself. Yeah, I was expecting something to be wrong up here, but I have checked everything over and everything seems correct. Then I noticed something weird that I'm going to show you if I can find my spark tester. It seems to have disappeared from the face of the earth. Here we have the spark tester. If I connect that to the coil and ground the other side out and turn the engine over, can you see it? I think you can. You will see that it flashes. That means that a spark is going through this wire. At least that was what I thought, because then I tried taking this and connecting it with this. You will notice that there is no spark. And then I took this spark plug lead and connected that to this one into this. I will ground out like this. So you will notice that there were no flashing inside of here. And then I have come to the conclusion that although the ignition coil seems to be giving some kind of impulse, it is not strong enough. So I went to my local shop and bought this one very cheaply. It's the last one they had in stock, and they are not going to get them in stock again. So it's, I can't believe my own luck. Actually, they had two of them, both with the exact same product code stamped on the coil itself. But the first one I got had a completely different setup with the connectors. I could have modified it, of course, but the other one, luckily, was the completely correct one. So now let's try to see if that makes a difference. Let's take that plug lead, the small one, because at one point I was just thinking that maybe the plug lead was wrong or broken. Then I actually stole the one from the Visa and tested with that, and it was the same deal. No spark with anything else than just the spark tester on this, on the old one. That could give me a flash, but now let's see. Oh yeah. Yes, so we are actually onto something. There was flashing inside of here, and it was way brighter than with the other one. So this coil is giving a signal, but just not enough to make this car run. Let's do an attempt to see what happens now with everything connected. It got fuel, now it also has sparks. So if the spark is in the right at the right time and the compression is not completely gone, something should happen. Oh, and the injectors work. I'm not that used to injection cars. Normally I work on carbs, so. But let's try this. And now the coolant system is completely empty, so we're not gonna let it run if anything happens, but let's just see. Maybe not. Oi! Whoa! Doesn't really want to go, but it is making some sounds. It almost feels a little bit out of time, actually. I'm just gonna attach that coil right, because now I have no doubt about the fact that the coil was bad. I think it's sounding a little bit weird when I crank it, so I'm a bit concerned about the health of this engine, but it's too early to say. You know what? I'm going to check if the leads are on in the correct fashion, because it just feels so much like it's kicking back. So I found a picture on the internet that hopefully is right. Let's see. Number 1, should be this one. That goes to number 2. Let's see if more of them are wrong. This one should go to number 3. That goes to number 3. That's right. This is correct. The lower one is number 4. That is also correct. And this one down there is number 2. So it seems to be 2 of them that are wrong, according to the picture on the internet at least. Who knows if that's right? They have been like this for a while at least, so I kind of doubt it. So this one should be number 1, like that. Oh, these wires are so bad. The connection must be so bad in these. Not even sure they will work actually. Can't believe I've seen any plug wires being this bad ever actually. But anyway, 2 of them were wrong. So will that do the trick? If it starts up, I suspect it will not be running on all 4 because of those leads. It explains the kickback, that's for sure. Oh yeah! Oi, but it wants to rev and make weird sounds. But it was running. Throttle is stuck almost wide open. So I'm just gonna unclip this. See, yeah. So now it's not giving any throttle at least. And that would be best. Let's try one more time. Oh! Seriously? It's sounding pretty decent. Especially with those plugs. I almost cannot see the metal part inside of the plug lead going to number 1. It is so badly corroded. But that sounded like a pretty healthy engine, at least for the first startup in who knows how many years. But I would need to get some water into this system. I think I'm just going to add some clear water because most likely it will be leaking somewhere. Okay, so I'm adding normal water to the coolant system right now. Of course, that's not the best thing to do, but I presume that it's leaking quite badly. So being water, it doesn't really matter that it leaks out. There could be other reasons why it's empty, but and I know these cars got some, they need to be bled correctly. I'm not going to do that right now because it's getting dark. I just want to fill it up and start it up for a couple of seconds again to see if it's how it sounds. I'm not going to run it very hot. And then next time I work on this, I will be able to see if the coolant or the water has left the system or I can bleed it out. I just want to add, so far, I have a 100% success rate on Seaside Garage for starting up these project cars. I even got the Renault 5 GT Turbo running with the cracked piston in there. I'm not bragging, well maybe I am, but I guess what I'm really trying to say is I've been really lucky with all these project cars. I bought so many of them unseen, and so far all of them could run, and that's a pretty big thing. Let's try to start it up one more time and then wrap this video up. It's not running completely clean, which makes sense. I think the leads and the spark plugs needs to be changed. It is tappety. That could be the lifters that are, of course, would need an oil change and all that. But it is working. Wow. Fuel line has started leaking again. I'm gonna switch it off, but thank you for watching. This will be all for now, and see you in the next one. Maybe a little blip of the throttle. Oh.